Hey gang, it's Tim. So what I really want to talk about today is that your agency isn't a B2B seller. Your agency is actually a media company because in this world today, in order to generate really great inbound leads and really build your authority so that you can, in fact, speak to prospects and customers with a great deal of credibility, you have to create a media presence. And what do I mean by media? So some of it could be traditional media like PR articles in newspapers and that sort of stuff. Other kinds of media are things like this, a video that goes out and allows you to share your ideas and your differences with an audience. It could be a newsletter, which is actually a super great way to sort of to generate credibility and authority and deliver real value to an audience. It could be a podcast. It could be a bunch of YouTube videos. It could be anything. But you have to realize that in order to get to the part where you say, would you like to get started? You actually have to break through so much noise and so much commotion that the only way to do that is to create a media presence. Now, sometimes ads are a media presence, right? I mean, we know that as consumers. So if you think about ads as a media presence, you think about content as a media presence, you think about real world activities like speaking or networking or anything else as a media presence. You think about the writing that you do as a media presence. You think about your social post as a media presence. If you start to adopt that mindset and constantly think that I have to create media content that serves my audience so that when it is time for them to speak with my company, they're going to have a real insight into you, and they have largely pre-sold themselves because of the media presence that your company makes. Now, if you are a slightly larger company, and by larger, I mean like, I don't know, 6 people, you can have multiple people in your company create a media presence. Now, don't worry if that person someday leaves, because that happens for sure. But the content that they generate on your behalf will live out in the world and continue to serve you, because content has, believe it or not, a really long shelf life. Here's a great story. So this was a million years ago. I think it may have been in 2008. Pretty sure it was 2008. I wrote a blog piece about SEO and fashion retailers when I was working for a company that was then called PM Digital. Well, fast forward, I think 6 years, I get a call. I remember this explicitly. I'm at my son's Little League game, and I get a call from a number, and I answer it, and it's this guy, Sean, who wants to talk to me about helping him with his SEO for his fashion company. Now, I wasn't with the agency that, when I wrote that article, but he had exposure to that agency, and they were way too much bigger for, they wouldn't have been appropriate for him. But, that drew him to that agency. And because that wasn't a fit, because he spoke to them, they said, why don't you get in touch with Tim directly? And he searched me out and found me. And so that's the power of content, because it lives for a long time. Even things that feel ephemeral, like this video that you're seeing in your social feed, it's going to live other places that will, in fact, have a longer shelf life than the time you spent watching it. So, to grow your agency, stop thinking of your business development process as a sales process. Think of yourself as a media company that needs to generate attention so that you can engage and then sell. Thanks.